Alright guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the super robot Chogokin, Reideen the Brave. The character of Reideen first appeared in a 1975 anime series in Japan, and the original Reideen toy made by Poppy was actually the first true transforming robot toy. So this particular Reideen is a more modern, updated, articulated die-cast version from Bandai. The back of the packaging showcases Raideen, some of his weapons, his posability, and it also features the Godbird mode. So as he comes in the box, Raideen looks very 70s to me. The shape of his legs just screams bell-bottom flares. As this is a Super Robot Chogokin release, he is extremely posable, but this one, due to his design, can be very awkward, especially around the head area, and he's definitely very finicky to get in a good pose. His head is articulated, but as you can see he's got these great big sideburn pieces, which are actually movable. But to get them just right can be really fiddly. Also on his head we can move these pieces in and out. He also features movement on his shoulder pads, these work independently to the arms. And the arm articulation, he's got these great shoulders. You can see there, they actually move forwards and backwards, as well as you can rotate them. And you can bring them up and down. His arms feature a swivel. We've also got this great little elbow joint with a panel that collapses completely in, so you can bring his arm all the way up. His hands are on a simple ball peg system. Obviously these are going to be removable so we can switch in some of the other hands. In its collapse mode, his waist does have a little bit of articulation, but if you need more, you simply extend the whole piece and you've got loads more articulation now. And for his legs, you can bring them out so far, but you'll notice you can actually pull that joint right the way down. We've got this little panel that moves out the way. And with the joints down, you've got so much more movement. And when you don't want to use it, you can push it back inside. We also have a turn at the top of the leg. And for his knees, we've got these great collapsing panels. So you can bring that all the way around and then go even further. And as his feet are made of rocket boosters, they're on a little ball joint. Due to his design, he is blocked at most parts of the articulation, but you can get something reasonably dynamic out of it. On the character's right arm, he has a shield, and instead of being retractable, it just has little panels that you can add on to form the full God block. In addition to the God block, he has the God break, which is this little blade that pops out. It's actually another separate piece, and we also have another separate piece, which forms the longer God break. On the other arm he features a bow weapon. On the original toy that would have just extended out, but on this version, again it's swap out parts. So first we would remove the fist, then we can add the extended bow piece, and then we give him his arrow pointing finger. After we've swapped his right hand out for an open hand, we can then add the arrow. And it should be noted, this arrow just sort of balances on there. It's pretty finicky and it loves to fall off. It's actually quite nicely made. The centre section is all metal. Unfortunately, the very tiny tips is a really soft PVC, so it's not something you want to be throwing about. Another downside is due to the design of the head, it's really awkward to get him to actually look where he's firing the arrow. So another cool feature is Raideen also features a swap out face. To do that, we need to remove his head. Once you've removed the head, you give it a little tug, you can actually take the face off, and then you can swap that out with the alternate face. So although it's an alternate face, it's actually the same thing, only with the mouth open. I also mentioned he came with swap out hands. So, in package he comes with a pair of fists, a pair of open hands for holding things, a pair of grasping hands, a pair of open palms, and finally a pair of pointing fingers. Unlike a lot of the Super Robot Chogokin releases, he doesn't actually feature a Tamashii stage adapter. He simply has a hole in his back. Unfortunately though, you're not going to be able to get him in a good flying pose, because as soon as you try and move the legs out, the hip joints are so weak, they just clang back together, which is unfortunate. So I mentioned the original Raideen toy was the very first transforming robot toy, and unusually for the Super Robot Chogokin line, this one does have a transformation, kind of. So to form the Godbird mode, first thing we need to do is remove these leg panels, and we actually swap these out for some more anime accurate pointed ones. And they just lock in nicely. We also need to remove his hands, which can be a little tricky, and we pull off these sections as we won't be needing those. hand off, and then we take off the little arm piece. Next we need to remove his head, and then with the head we need to pull off the little wing pieces. Next we need to add the front of the bird mod, and that locks over there, and then we need to peg these into the little ball joints. Then we can take the body and add the head back on. So this piece allows you to conform the legs, but it doesn't actually stay in place. And I found it's easier to actually attach these separately. So we plug that into there. And then the same on the other side. Giving us that section. Then we take the robot and we need to slide his arms into there. And when you finally got it all together, there's your Godbird mod. It really is quite back heavy though, and it doesn't hold together too greatly. Underneath you'll see there's a little hole there, and that allows us to add the Tamashii stand. Due to the shape of this, you can't really sit it on the ground. Or if you get it on a nice tight stand, you can get it to fly in bird mode. So it's quite a nice design. It's just extremely fiddly to pull off. There's so many parts that move on this. Getting everything just right. It's going to take you a long time to do. But you're probably not going to display it in this mode, unless maybe you get multiples. The robot mode, definitely my preferred option. So ultimately we're left with one very fiddly robot. It's also worth noting, this guy has a variant, a Tamashii web store exclusive black version, a tradition they've kept in Japan for many years. Unfortunately, being a Tamashii web exclusive, the prices tend to get a little ridiculous. So there you have it guys, Super Robot Chogokin, Raideen the Brave. This has been Luke, thank you for watching.